Hi everyone, in this series of video I'm going to talk about cell cycle and cell division. To begin with, in this video I'm going to talk about cell cycle. You all know that all organism, including the largest one, has begun its life from the single cell, and that single cell is known as zygote. This zygote is formed from the union of a sex cell, that is eggs and sperm. Do you know how this single cell zygote gives such a large organism? Yes, it is by cell growth and cell division. As you all know, all cells including this zygote will reproduce by dividing into two daughter cells, and that produced daughter cells again grow and divide, and it continues. So because of this continuous cell growth and division, this single cell produces such a large organism having millions of cells. This sequence of events by which cell grow and divide is known as cell cycle. Cell cycle comprises many number of events like DNA replication or synthesis of DNA, synthesis of many constituents of the cell, synthesis of many biomolecules like proteins, enzymes, ATP, etc. Division or distribution of this produced DNA into two daughter cells, distribution of cytoplasm, etc. Anyhow, all these events takes place at different phases of the cell cycle, and all events are under genetic control, or they are controlled by gene. Mainly, this cell cycle is divided into two phases. They are interphase and M phase. Now let me talk about these two phases one by one. First, let me talk about interphase. This is the interphase and this is a M phase. As you can see in this diagram, interphase is of long duration when compared to M phase. Though the interphase is called as resting phase, it is a time of intense activity during which the cell prepares itself for the division by undergoing growth and DNA replication. But nothing is visible from the outside. That is why interphase is referred as a resting phase by the earlier scientists. But now it is proved to be wrong, as the cell is metabolically very active during the interphase. Interphase requires of about 90% of total time required for the cell cycle. For example, human cell require 24 hours for single cell division. Out of that, M phase lasts for about 1 hour, and the rest 23 hours is occupied by the interphase. This interphase is mainly divided into three phases. They are G1 phase, S phase and G2 phase. We'll discuss these three phases one by one. First one is G1 phase. G1 phase is also called as gap 1 phase or first growth phase. It is the first subphases of interphase, and it is an interval between the M phase and the DNA replication. During this G1 phase, many biomolecules are produced like proteins, amino acid, RNA, enzymes, ATP, etc., which are required for the next phase. And the next phase is S phase, which is also called as a synthesis phase. In the S phase, DNA replication or synthesis of DNA takes place, and DNA replication takes place inside the nucleus. Before S phase or during G1 phase, a chromosome consisting of a single linear DNA. This single linear DNA undergo replication. As a result, after S phase, single chromosome will be having two strands of DNA. Means the amount of DNA will be doubled, or there is an increase in the amount of DNA. Anyhow, the number of chromosome remains same. For example, if a cell have 4 number of chromosome in the G1 phase, even after the S phase, the number of chromosome remains same. That is, that cell will be having only 4 chromosome even after the S phase or after the DNA replication. Along with the DNA replication, some of the protein known as histone proteins are produced during the S phase, and this histone protein associated with the DNA to produce structure known as nucleosome. Along with the DNA replication, the replication of a centriole takes place in the S phase. So ultimately, two centrioles are produced, and this centriole replication takes place in the cytoplasm. So in the S phase, DNA replication takes place in the nucleus, whereas centriole replication takes place in the cytoplasm of the cell. That is about the S phase. Third phase is G2 phase or gap 2 phase or second growth phase or post-synthetic phase. It is a phase after the S phase. As you can see in this diagram, this is a G2 phase. During During G2 phase, many biomolecules along some of the proteins are synthesized. Among the proteins, very important protein called as tubulin is synthesized. Tubulin made up of spindle fiber, and that protein is synthesized during the G2 phase. In the G2 phase anyhow, cell growth continues. So that is about the three phases of interphase. In all the three phases, cell continuously grow along with the specific work done at all the three stages. Some cells in the adult organism will not divide. For example, heart cells. Along with that, there are some other cells which will divide occasionally whenever it is required. For example, if a cell is required to replace the lost cell due to injury or natural cell death, in such condition the cell will divide, or else the cells do not divide. So those cells will exit this G1 phase to undergo inactive stage called as quiescent stage or G0 phase. In the G0 phase, the cells will be metabolically active, but they will not divide or they will not proliferate until the instruction is given to do so. So that is all about the different subphases of the interphase. Now let me talk about the second phase, that is M phase. M phase represents a phase where the actual cell division takes place. So this is the M phase which represents the actual cell division. So it represents a cell division of both mitosis and meiosis. This M phase begins with the nuclear division, where the daughter chromosomes are distributed to the two cells, and that process is called as karyokinesis. After the karyokinesis, division and distribution of cytoplasm takes place, and that process is called as cytokinesis. So karyokinesis and cytokinesis together form M phase. So that is all about the cell cycle, where in today's video I discussed regarding the interphase in detail. So what are the things that happens in the interphase? In the next video I'm going to talk about the concept of M phase in detail. I hope this video will be useful. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.